This is the Rated R Rapport. We've got Colin, Andrew, we've got Chris Mace. I'm Stefan, that's Jerry.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome.
What's up?
We try to make this very relaxed.
Yep.
Support! No DQ!
Yesterday we talked to Noah after the predictions video we did on a much shorter episode of the Rated R Rapport. We talked about John Oliver.
Yeah.
And his 23-minute report he did on HBO, I guess last week.
Yep.
On the WWE. And have either one of you or have both of you seen this?
Yeah, I actually watched it this morning.
Yeah, I
so
watched the whole
it's
thing.
fresh on their mind. That's good.
So I want to get your guys' input because we said plenty yesterday, and I might reiterate some of the stuff that I said if you guys, well, obviously you didn't get to watch it because I haven't published it yet. We've got a lot of content coming out, and I try to get it, if I can, one video a day so there's something new to watch every day. That was my big complaint about No DQ. That's why we do these videos.
Yep.
Is because I wanted more content. So in order to get it, I had to produce it myself.
Word.
So, I'm going to start with Chris. What did you think about the report in general, but I also want to know what you thought about WWE and Vince McMahon's response to the report.
I was about to say, at some points I thought it was funny. At the beginning of it, they was making a joke out of stuff, and then they were talking about the seriousness of it, about the deaths and how they're all higher up. If you think about oh my God, I'm going to go right now, but I think the age range is higher up in deaths of wrestlers than it is in the NFL and all the sports and stuff, and they were talking about how to get it, they were trying how to get it down and stuff. Like I said, at some points of it was funny, some points of it was really sad. It was one of those things. It's like after you watch it, you're going, okay, he's got a lot of good points of what he says about a lot of things on there. But I'm honestly not even sure how WWE responded. You won't be perfectly honest with you, so you might have to fill me on how WWE responded. I haven't heard how they responded yet.
It says he pretty bluntly titled John Oliver's ignorant facts. Like they pretty much just called him ignorant from what I'm reading. I didn't know.
It's called fake news. It's fake news.
I have no idea. I'm just trying to find it real quick.
The article's on NoDQ.com.
Yeah.
How's the ignorant facts when he's talking about the average death rate, which can be proven, but wrestlers compared to NFL players and sports players? You can look up these factual bases based on the wrestlers and sports players' deaths, and you can see the big difference.
But that's just numbers and statistics. Who looks at those things?
There have been some that have been tragic deaths, like Owen Hart was tragic.
Yes.
Benoit was a whole completely different story. We're not getting into that one, but
Again.
they're just different. There were different circumstances behind those couple, but like I said, for the most part, you hear a lot of them dying because of drug overdoses. Like even that's one thing I remember when they were talking about Roddy Piper saying he had already said in one interview, I think it was back in 2003, was the reason he got fired from WWE at that point because of that interview that came out on HBO, where he was talking about, he had said there's no retirement plans for us. There's nothing for us. I'm not going to live to be 65, and damn sure he didn't, because he only lived to be 61. That's a proven fact. That's a factual thing right there. So how are you going to say, like Colin just said, how are you going to say, well, this is not proven, and this, critic, it's some of this stuff is proven fact. This happened.
Yep. And when presented with those facts, Vince McMahon went fucking ballistic. He did something he should not have done. He was not on WWE television. He was not playing the character Mr. McMahon. He smacked them papers out of that reporter's hands. And, wow. Have you watched it since we talked about it yesterday?
No. Dude, we didn't get done till like 5 or 6 that morning.
Oh, you have a 20-minute lunch break at work. I know this because I'm there.
Yeah.
We actually got, for the last 2 days, we got to run together on the same line. And you think, oh, that's awesome. You can talk. No, you have to work.
I'll walk over there on occasion and say hey, or like some random idea for the show, or I'll get some sort of South Park thing stuck in his head, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, but otherwise, when we're on break, I smoke and he doesn't, so I'm outside, he's inside. it doesn't work out. But on your break, man, you can watch this video. It is
I'll
worth watching.
I'll no doubt watch it tomorrow before I come over here for Takeover.
My argument to the point that it was humor unnecessarily, I feel like the show probably is centered around a lot of humor and kind of like the Daily Show. So it was probably necessary that there were jokes in there. And I think a lot of the jokes not only were called for, but they reflect the fact that when he says he is a wrestling fan, he is being genuine. Like, he's not just making fun of something he knows nothing about. He is a wrestling fan, and he can make fun of these spots because
we're talking progress, evolve, stuff like that. Not just run-of-the-mill WWE stuff.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably a British wrestling fan. He definitely is British, and so
very British.
He's got fallback. Like, he probably doesn't watch WWE currently. Otherwise, even though it was the way the joke was set up about the hair, and that's something I think most people that watch wrestling have joked about over the years, is how their hair stays wet for an entire 40-minute match. You know, it's like water evaporates. Eventually, Joe Anoa'i should be in the middle of the ring, and his hair should be just going everywhere because he's Samoan. Like, just everywhere, and it doesn't happen because they don't use water. They use
bacon grease.
Who knows?
Something.
Who knows?
Right.
So I think the joke was set up properly. They just, maybe somebody didn't know, or maybe they didn't see it as we're going to protect him from the joke just because he had leukemia. We're going to treat him like we treat anybody else. Maybe.
Yeah, which I'm cool with that, you know? Honestly.
The point of the whole of the bit, or the whatever you want to call it,
segment,
a report.
Yeah, we'll call it a report.
See, that's the proper use of the word report. The whole basis of the report was not to make fun of Roman Reigns. That was just a piece of it. The whole of it said a lot, and it was some important stuff because it's got a lot of implications that aren't so great at Vince McMahon, but they need to be made to light because you could possibly make an argument for Vince McMahon all the way up until the point where they showed him getting interviewed by that guy.
Yep.
And his reaction to the facts. What did you think about this fucking report, Colin?
I mean, he hit on a lot of shit, and what was it, that like minute and a half like promo video? Like, it was like it's like advertising like an upcoming show, but it's just, you know, do you want to get dental? Do you want to have health insurance? Come on, join, you know, this, that, and the other, like that. You know, which is true because these people have no health care covered by WWE. They're independent contractors, so they're on their own. Like, you know what I mean? But they're not reaping the benefits of someone who can work at fucking, you know, Walmart and have basic benefits.
This goes beyond that, though, because they also talk about CM Punk.
I'm just getting started.
Okay.
He's like, can't finish.
Just warming up. Just warming up. Yeah, the whole CM Punk thing, how they ignored him. How they obviously knew he was sick. Obviously, he knew he was hurt, but still pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. Oh, we're going to give a Z-Pack. Oh, we're going to give a Z-Pack. Oh, we're going to give a Z-Pack. Cool. You can take a million fucking Advil. Doesn't mean that headache's going to go away. Fucking Z-Pack ain't going to do shit after a while, especially when it gets so bad. They just push everything aside. Oh, who cares? You're just a workhorse. You're going to work. You're going to get money for us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They don't give a fuck about you as a human being. They care about one thing and one thing only, and it's money, and they'll do whatever it takes to get that. You know, when it goes to from that CM Punk thing, and then when it branched over to the early death situation. I mean, obviously, a lot of the people that we watched, you know, we're all in our 30s here. A lot of the people that we watched as teenagers, etc., aren't here anymore.
No.
Nope. You know what I mean? I mean, what? You know, even people we watched 10 years ago aren't here anymore.
Guys you would never expect.
Lance Cade. When Lance Cade,
Mhm.
when I found out about Lance Cade, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Andrew Martin test.
Yeah.
That was like
Yeah.
more than a decade ago.
For me, it was Chris
Yeah.
Candido.
Fucking Sean O'Hare. And Mark Jindrak.
Mark Jindrak's still alive.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking somebody else.
He's
done that before.
he wrestles in Mexico as Marco Corleone.
That's cool. I should check on that.
Mhm.
But
Then you
yeah,
have
Sean.
some of the guys in the golden era too that, like I said, like a Kurt Hennig or a Rick Rude or Ultimate Warrior. You got all these different guys that are alive. If you would have told me when all this was going on in the 90s, all these wrestlers seemed like they were starting to die, that Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair would be one of the last couple of legends.
Seriously?
Sergeant Slaughter and a couple others. If you would have told me Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan would still be alive in 2019 and all these other guys were passed away, I would have told you were lost your mind.
So what you have is a situation where they are not required to provide them with health insurance because they're independent contractors.
Mhm.
And what that takes away is their ability to go elsewhere for treatment other than the doctors they provide as a part of WWE. The guy that gave CM Punk Z-Packs to the point to where he shat himself on SmackDown.
Yep.
They provide those guys that are willing to give them anything that it takes to get them to the next show and make the next bunch of cash.
Yeah.
There's duct tape on it, call it a day.
You're in a storyline, fella. Like right now, you have to at the very least make the televised shows. So they're going to do whatever it takes, and little by little, that's been chipped away at in forms such as concussions.
Yep.
Where they can no longer take headshots with chairs and shit like that, but down to the point to where they take concussions a lot more seriously than they used to, because they know that now that they should be making sure nobody's got concussions, and if people do, they handle it properly. They can get sued for a lot of money if they don't.
Mhm.
Yep.
But that is only going to chip away at it little by little each time there's another ism, there's another thing that happens. Somebody gets hurt in a different way that they should be checking for. It's going to get chipped away at, or they can cease to be independent contractors. They can be full-time employees and be able to go see other doctors and have time away and not be replaced, not be fired because they're sick and they have to be away from the television show. They can have real time off. And AEW is, I think, doing all of that, and they're going to change the game. They are giving women and men equal pay. They are changing the game.
Yeah. And they recently officially got Jim Ross, so that's going to be really interesting.
We should talk about that later.
Oh,
Write
yeah,
that down.
But see, my quick
Write that down.
question is though too, why? I'm about to say we've heard all these different wrestlers. Like I remember hearing about Raven talking about they were trying to do a lawsuit about the independent contractor rule, and how the IRS said they had to break it down to certain sections. I'm about to say, how has this been? That's what I wonder. How has this been continuing to go on? Because if you look at some of the definitions of an independent contractor, okay. Dolph Ziggler, for example, I've heard this example so many times. Dolph Ziggler should be able to tell, if he's an independent contractor, should be able to tell, like Colin, for example, hey, you're going to go out there and wrestle for me because I'm an independent contractor, and so you go out there and wrestle for me. He's not allowed to do that. He can't do that.
It's been going on.
What they do is to go by the schedule and everything like that. That's not a definition of an independent contractor.
Right, but it's been going on this long because the longer it goes on, the harder it is to fight because the more money WWE has. The more money they can spend on lawyers. If you're going to try and get them for this, it's going to cost you a lot more money than you've got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would take tons of wrestlers that have actually invested well and remained wealthy. Where guys like DDP that have done independent wealth with his DDP Yoga or DDPY, it would take tons of them getting together to put the money into fighting this. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get grandfathered in and suddenly they're going to have health care and shit that they need that they should have gotten, like pension and whatnot, because they used to work for them, or are they just doing it for the guys that currently work for them? And the guys that currently work for them can't do it because as soon as they start whispering about a union or anything like that, they're all going to get fired by the bunch because there's tons of people out there willing to sign that contract and say, yes, I am an independent contractor that works for nobody else, and my schedule is set by this person until the end of this multi-year contract.
Yeah.
Tons of people are willing to do that because of the platform.
And that's where it comes in the root of all evil's money, as everybody says, because the fact they're going to do 1099s as an independent contractor. They're not going to get all the taxes taken out, everything like that. So whatever they do with their 1099s, how they file their taxes is up to whatever they do. But like I said, they're going to be making more money at the end of the day being independent contractors. And that's where you're going into a situation, okay, well, what's more important to me at this moment, the money or my health later down the road? They're not thinking about that.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. If somebody did this and the IRS decides that WWE and WWF have been defrauding the IRS for 30 plus years by not calling these people employees,
Yeah.
the back taxes that they would have due might bankrupt that company.
Yeah.
Especially in,
Absolutely.
especially in the
Absolutely.
They might have made just short of $1 billion last year, but there's not a lot of that's liquid. A lot of that is in the value of the company because it's publicly traded, and that drops substantially if suddenly they're about to lose millions or billions of dollars in back taxes.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's something they would fight tooth and nail. They would take the richest of the rich to their knees in lawyers and fees and retrials and shit and everything. They would, oh man.
Yeah.
So this is a bigger issue than
they're actually letting on at this point. Yeah. They're looking at short term, like, probably just trying to get everything fixed up, but in the long term, this could be significantly damaging to WWE or just the wrestling landscape at this point.
Well, meanwhile, the way they do business, they are literally pushing against the wrestlers' bodies to where they need to see doctors, and then they provide the doctors that just keep them well enough to stay in the ring. It's a lose-lose here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't get any better, because if you start making it a product where nobody can get hurt, people are probably going to stop watching.
Yep.
So there's always that chance of injury. It's what you do after the fact and the insurance that they should have, so where they can get injured in the ring but go see whatever doctor they want. I feel like that's something, because of the nature of the business, WWE should just give them for free.
Yeah.
Like, just here. Make sure you're well.
Here's a question I have for y'all. Maybe y'all know this, but I'm not trying to think about it. But aren't sports players also considered independent contractors, or would they not be considered that because of the fact they are signed to a team and stuff like that? Would they be considered employees or independent contractors as well?
I watch major golf,
so you don't hear so much of this in the sports world. You're hearing about this more in the wrestling world than you are in sports world.
The big difference I see there is that most of the sports worlds have an off season up to like 6 months. You know, you've got half a year, sometimes as little as 2 or 3 months before they're training again, but you've got some time to heal your body before you go into another round of this shit. You talk about high impact sports like football. They only have a dozen or two games a year. You know, like they don't do 250 dates all year long. These guys go 52 weeks a year, and they've got 3 or 4 days that are filled with doing that to their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the biggest difference there, and John Oliver talks about that.
Yep.
Yeah, when you touched on the, brought up the GoFundMe accounts and stuff like that. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's a sad thing because it's not up to, it shouldn't be up to the fans. I mean, it's awesome, but it shouldn't come down to that. Like, for crying out loud, you can send all these people to rehab that are, they pay for rehab and shit sometimes, but you can't help with someone's surgery. They're going to lose their leg, or they're going to, this, that, or the other. Why send fucking
didn't Kamala have like a double leg amputation?
There's also an argument that can be made that some of these wrestlers get paid a lot more than your average Joe with your average 40-hour-a-week job, and they can afford to spend, like, maybe not like the local wrestling companies that work out of gyms and armories and shit like that.
Yeah.
But certainly WWE wrestlers, they can afford to take part of their money and put it away for a 401k and shit like that. They just don't do it.
No.
They can afford to go see their own doctors. They just don't do it. There's an argument that can be made there, but I really think because of the nature of the business where they're putting their bodies on the line to make money for the company should provide the health care for free. Like, for what you do to your bodies, make sure you're healthy for us for as long as we can keep you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I actually agree with you there. I absolutely agree with you there. It'd be, it's like you have your, when you are on a sports team and you have your sports doctors and their main goal is your best interest. You know what I mean? So they look at you and then send you where you need to go to get the treatment that you need. And it's all taken care of. When if you blow your knee out when you're playing football and you get taken off, they have your medical trainers right there, and you have the doctors right there in the back, but then they know exactly where you're going to go and get everything, the way it should be. And it's the way it should be in the back. They should have a full-blown medical staff in the back, or at the headquarters, or, somewhere. To give their athletes. I don't want to call them independent contractors. These are fucking athletes.
Yep.
That work 250 days a year, and between traveling and getting taking bumps and being sick and thrown around in crowds of people and blah 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 blah, there's no downtime. And especially when you finish a show, but you can't leave that show until it's over. So it's 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night, and you got to drive 250 miles, and then get a hotel, and then try to get a couple hours of sleep, or if you have media in the morning, or if you have it's a constant go. And the human body isn't made for that. There's no off season, and as much as I would hate to not have it for a little while, I'd love to see an off season.
Oh no, it wouldn't be like that. If they had an off season, it would be per wrestler.
I know, but it'd be cool if they honestly kind of set something up like that. I don't know, like down the road, like tried it out, like, with like a real independent company or something, see how it goes.
They really have the opportunity to do this now. Not in any large scale sense where like a wrestler leaves for 3 months and comes back. But you think about some of the wrestlers that you only see on SmackDown every 3 weeks. Well, why can't they have 2 weeks off and then tour for that week? Give them 2 weeks to, and it may not be 2 weeks at a time. It may only be a week at a time. But if you're not going to be featured on SmackDown, then have the week off. Or if you're not going to be featured on Raw, have the week off. And there's a lot of superstars, even main event superstars, that can miss a week and you don't really miss them. Roman Reigns is a good example. I think they could do that for them. But as far as long term, you would have to build it into storylines where you have somebody that can go away for 2 or 3 months to go heal up into a contractually built in off season. But there's certainly between that as the 3 months as like a longer scale and a week at a time as a shorter scale, somewhere in there, they could do it and you would never notice. So on to happier topics.
Yes, let's go with, since we're so close to it now, and that was
You must mean WrestleMania.
Yes, we're talking about WrestleMania, even though TakeOver is a much, much more important event for us.
For us, sure.
For
But
us.
for them, probably Mania.
For us, it's TakeOver. TakeOver's our bread and butter.
Plus, it's way shorter.
Yes, it's way shorter too.
Way shorter.
Half the time.
Less than half.
And
Easy.
And I was about to say, WrestleMania is probably gonna have an hour and a half worth of great spots and great moments.
It's gonna be 7 hours. It's gonna go from 5 to 7 for the pre-show and 7 to midnight for the main show.
But I'm saying an hour and a half tops of great moments, and the rest is gonna be like 5.5 hours of just filler and crap. So, what we're going to talk about now, though, is just build-up and whatnot leading into WrestleMania matches. We're going to talk about the best WrestleMania storylines.
So I'm assuming you mean the build-up to WrestleMania.
Yes.
Mine is the build-up and the WrestleMania.
Well, I was about to say, as long as the build-up and the match itself.
No. This was throughout. Okay, so Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
You had the build-up all the way to 230, and then they started the show with Daniel Bryan versus Triple H for the opportunity to get into the main event, and then he did the main event at the end of the show. So the storyline was built into WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
This was the best that they had done storyline-wise.
It was an incredible
WrestleMania.
one.
There's a lot of real shocking and, probably, I know one you're going to mention that's probably going to have like a lot more eyes on it, things like that. But as far as storyline, all the way up till and built into WrestleMania, it doesn't get any better than Daniel Bryan coming over the Authority and fucking, yeah.
Okay, so let's go with one of you two. Let's go with Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Colin.
Alright, one of my personal favorites.
Well, Colin came up with the idea. I'm just hosting.
Let him answer.
Yeah.
One of my personal favorites that I'm always going to love is from WrestleMania 10. It's Brett versus Owen.
Oh, yeah.
The sibling rivalry, brother versus brother. I always loved that feud. I always loved, their brothers. They're going to have great chemistry, just like the Hardys had great chemistry with each other. That feud was always real awesome.
And the fact that Owen went over in that match.
Yeah. For his brother to win the title at the end of the show.
Yep.
Which he opened and closed because that was the first match of that card. The reason I love it so much too was WrestleMania 10 was the first cassette tape that I owned. I didn't have to take back to the video store. Like, you know what I mean? So I watched the shit out of that tape.
Oh, yeah. I know that one.
Oh, yeah, that was a great match.
Then you could throw Michael
the
Cera
tape
Roll in.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was me in Ninja Turtles, too.
Oh, featuring Kevin Nash.
Yeah,
And then there was one specific episode of Ninja Turtles, the cartoon series, that I had because we got it at Burger King. Yes.
Yes.
Love it. And then there was a tape that we had, because I lived in Germany for 2 years, where there's like one channel in English.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a tape that I guess somebody had recorded like a Disney afternoon. And so it had a ton of cartoons on it, Disney cartoons.
Yep.
And so each one of those specifically, I remember the shit out of them. But as far as like all of the rest of the Rescue Rangers shows, it's give and take.
Yeah. What about you, Holiday? What you got?
Well, Stefan and Colin stole my number 1 and number 2 idea. Thanks, guys. But I'm gonna go with my number. I'm gonna go with my number 3. I'm gonna go Batista versus Triple H going into WrestleMania 21. I just like how it was that slow burn. You didn't know what was going on. Batista wins the Rumble. You're not quite sure. We're all hoping he's challenging Triple H, but you're not quite sure. And they have a little twist where they have a limo that looks like JBL's limo trying to run Batista over, and Triple H saving Batista. You gotta go SmackDown and do something about this. And that was one of my actual favorite contract signings. One of my favorite contract signings. Batista's looking at both of them, debating about Triple H and Ric Flair, going, "Yeah, man, you got this. You're the man. You got this. You got this." And then he goes the thumbs down, puts them to the table, and they're off to the races. And that storyline felt like it was more like a slow burn, organic storyline. And that's what I liked about that one. And I liked the fact that Batista won the title, and he went off to the races after that.
Yeah. Colin, did you have another one? Because you said like WrestleMania 10 was one of them that came to mind. I just kind of spaced on that.
Oh, dude, Rock Hogan.
Oh yeah.
Was that a good storyline, or was that just a good moment/match?
I don't know. I don't know. I liked the build-up, kind of like the NWO took wasn't it like they took him out and like put him in that fucking ambulance and hit with a semi-truck and shit, or am I like mixing different shit together?
I don't know.
For me for that match, or that storyline in general, it was more about like The Rock trying to bring the old Hogan back out of him, like the red and yellow versus the white and the black. It was almost kind of like a redemption type story.
Yeah. Well, I'm all right. So, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 12.
That was good. Yeah.
They had the Iron Man match, and Shawn Michaels won the title for the first time. That build into it was great. What was it? Jose, what was his last name?
Lothario.
Lothario. Like, bringing him into it, and just the whole build from Michaels winning the Rumble that year, and just going through, and the incredible match that they had, and that entrance that Shawn had, and just the dynamics that they had together. Like, I remember like the contract signing or whatever they did, and the face-to-face they had, and that was, like the real start of what, kind of led to that tremendous Bret and Shawn feud.
What's yours,
in
Jerry?
the bigger realm, because they battled before in ladder matches and stuff, like the mid-card title.
For me, nothing like speaks louder to me than Jericho versus Shawn Michaels. When Jericho went into his hypocrisy mode, saying like that Shawn had faked an injury and all this other stuff, and he put his head through the Geritron, and became that very stoic and very just pointing out all of Shawn's hypocrisies and whatnot. And for like that, the whole build up for that match was beautiful, and then the match itself was just an instant classic in general. And for the end of it to show that Jericho wasn't nearly done by just giving Shawn Michaels a low blow and leaving him in the middle of the ring, I just loved everything about that feud, because it pretty much gave a rub to Chris Jericho, but at the same time showed Shawn Michaels still had it to be the showstopper at WrestleMania, and that's what I think they were trying to do, kind of like pass the torch at the same time. So.
Mm-hmm.
That was
one match nobody brought up was WrestleMania 17 with Austin versus The Rock. Nobody's brought up that match at all in any of our picks. That build up to that match.
I didn't know we were making picks. I thought it was just.
It's not really a pick as much as just discussion, but that's
discussion.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other thing about I'm gonna ask this question real quick. It kind of pertains to Stone Cold Steve Austin, because if you guys watched my WrestleMania prediction, I kind of went off the beaten path I usually do, and I picked Ronda Rousey for the main event winner. And
I still can't believe you did that.
Well,
I can't believe that you did that either.
I don't think anybody can. But at the same time, I have to ask you, what's more gratifying for you guys? Was it anytime Austin won a belt at a main event, or when he got screwed and then you got to see him on Monday Night Raw either getting vengeance or like setting up for the rematch or whatever may come after that?
Well, obviously what was more gratifying was when he won the title back, but what made it so gratifying was all the other stuff.
Yeah.
That you said. Yeah, so both?
Well, I'm saying, like, if you had to choose one or the other.
I
though.
can't, because the other build is the sweet build into Stone Cold finally getting his vengeance.
Yeah, dude.
Because with me, it was
It's like
always.
taking a layer out.
Because with me, it's always like there was always that celebration by whoever Austin faced, and like they were victorious and Austin lost. So you're always wondering. That's what got people going back on to Raw. That's the other reason why I think Rousey's going to win. It's the fact that people are going to be wondering, oh fuck, what is Becky Lynch going to do now? How is she going to exact revenge? How is she going to get into this title hunt again? What's going to happen? So that's where I'm at on that. Granted, I don't see her driving in a Zamboni. I don't see her blowing up any vehicles because that's just like that's not her stereotype.
She
How
has
about that milk truck? She could drive that.
Using that formula, she would have to have the title to get screwed of the title. So maybe she gets the title at Mania, and then your prediction comes true on Monday night after Mania, and she gets screwed out of the title somehow. But other than that,
well,
man,
I think
you're rolling some dangerous dice going with Ronda Rousey. But we'll see. In a couple of days, we'll see.
With my logic though, if she actually does, she wouldn't really be getting screwed out of the title until Ronda Rousey relinquishes them that night, and she's got to start all over again. Because this means like she wrestled that entire match and everything for nothing, only for Ronda Rousey to come out to the ring on Raw and just be like, you know what, these two belts, neither one of you are getting them, vacated. So. All right. I think it's a cool storyline. I think it would work out beautifully, but that's just me. So.
As I said on the predictions video, it is in the books.
Yes.
And I'm not changing it. I want to see if you're right, but man, I think that's a ballsy prediction.
But Chris also brought up another great subject that I think we're going to go ahead and roll right into from off the storylines, and that's who we see from NXT UK getting called up to the WWE roster.
I think it was specifically who is going to be the next big thing in WWE's main roster.
Yeah, who's going to be the next NXT UK star, male and female, who would be the next big thing in WWE.
Yeah, NXT UK, male and female.
Okay, so I'm going to go first.
Yeah.
Because I don't want nobody to take my picks.
Alright.
Okay.
Stubborn bastard.
Pete Dunne and Rhea Ripley.
Oh.
Easy peasy, man.
Lemon squeezy.
Now, I said that, but feel free to take my picks because they're correct. Just saying.
And they're the complete obvious choices.
Of course, they're the obvious choices because he's talking about who is the next big thing.
Yeah.
I know.
Those two.
That's why I've also stated that Pete is the next person to go up from UK, the WWE main roster. I don't want to say it, but main roster. And yeah, he's had a 680-day reign as the UK champion. He has just dominated everything in his path. The kid's going to get pushed. The kid's going to get pushed hard. And then Rhea Ripley, same thing with her. The chick, she's got it all. She's got the whole package. So.
Yeah, she does. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna keep Rhea Ripley, but I'm not gonna go with Pete Dunne. I'm gonna actually go with Walter later down the road. I think Walter could be like the future style kind of Brock Lesnar in WWE is what I can see.
Nope.
That's what
I don't see Walter going on a WWE road schedule like that.
No.
Especially in the United States.
Walter is Austrian, and he is an international enemy in the history of the United States.
Yeah.
He is going to come in as your typical foreigner heel, and he's going to be all about Austria, and he's going to turn into Rusev, man. He already has one name.
Even worse, yes,
It's gonna be
Kozlov. Vladimir Kozlov. He's going to be, like, if he gets...
Who became Kozlov.
Yeah. Huh?
Walter Kozlov.
No, Walter's already one name, so he's already primed for this. Alexander Rusev became Rusev, and he was your typical fucking foreigner heel.
So Walter's just going to be Walt.
Oh my God, Walter stands probably a very bad chance of making it big on the roster because he is Austrian.
Yeah.
A UK person is just fine because other than the American Revolution, they've always kind of been our allies.
For the most
So
part.
they can be an annoying Briton, but typically they're just fine as baby faces. They don't get lumped into the, let's say, Central to Eastern mainland Europe countries do.
Yeah.
Anyway. So were your picks the same as mine, Colin, or did you have different picks?
No, I didn't have different picks.
Okay.
That's how I was hoping I'd go first since no one stole my picks. But apparently we've been hanging out even though we live like 700 miles away from each other.
No, you were on the head when you said it was the obvious picks because they are the obvious picks. So that's why I wanted to go first because I knew they were the okay. Anyway, Jerry, your picks.
Well, you know me. I always have somebody different. But for me, for the female star, somebody's got a lot of star power to her that I think would be really interesting on the main brand.
Hey guys, he says there's one in NXT UK that has got more star power and appeal than Rhea Ripley. Sorry, baby.
Oh, partly because I want this chick gone from NXT UK anyway. Toni Storm. I think Toni Storm.
okay.
I think Toni Storm would be an interesting fit on Raw.
You don't honestly think that's not honestly your pick over Rhea Ripley. You just wanted to be different.
No, I want Rhea Ripley to stay in NXT UK where she'll actually get to wrestle and do a good job. Versus Toni Storm will just be more or less eye candy in this whole rocker chick thing.
But she won't make it big because she's eye candy in this whole rocker chick thing.
Oh, so Ashley Mazzaro didn't make it big?
Nope.
I thought she did.
The only thing big about Ashley Massaro is her action figure because it's extremely rare.
Yeah.
It is. It's the
And
only
her
one. She
Playboy
only has
cover.
one.
And her Playboy cover.
Is that rare? I don't know if that's rare.
Yeah, but
It's eye-opening. Page-turning.
and if they don't establish like mid-card title or whatnot, why not give Jordan Devlin a run in America?
I mean, sure, but I don't think...
I can see him going for the Intercontinental belt.
Not more likely than Pete Dunne. I'm going for the win here, man.
Yeah.
It was Pete Dunne and Rhea Ripley, and you're just fighting me here.
Well, like I didn't want to go against. I didn't want to say same people, so I went off the beaten path.
And the best you could come up with was Jordan Devlin. What about Mastiff?
Mastiff, he doesn't have that like the same charisma and the Sam, I want to punch you in the face attitude is like.
He's a big motherfucker.
But yeah, but still, like
he doesn't have to have that charisma to want to punch you in the face.
Can you actually see a lot of good matches coming out of him versus like the roster we have with Devlin?
I'm just saying, it's easy to look at Mastiff and see him as the next big thing.
Yeah.
All right, so. In other news that's not related to WWE, we can step away from them just a little bit. We'll go ahead and talk about AEW and the fact that now Jim Ross is the head commentator for the company. He's going to be the voice of AEW.
Who wants to go first?
I think it's amazing.
Exactly.
Eeny, meeny, miny, Chris.
Well,
Well, you did it with Colin last time.
I know. I was waiting for you to say Colin again. It's like Colin. Colin's like what?
I think it's exciting news. I think he's going to be a great fit with that. Like I said, he's one of the greatest commentators of all time. So of course you're going to want him with your company.
Mm-hmm.
Colin.
I think it's wonderful news. You know, the greatest commentator in the history of professional wrestling. Can't get much bigger than that. I mean,
Oh no.
it's going to be nice. You know, it's going to be a friendly, welcoming, old, familiar voice, and people are going to hear it and be like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, they
Okay.
are.
Like, you know, I started getting more into New Japan when Jim Ross was commentating for New Japan. It's like I was flipping through one day and I was like, screw it. I started watching it and on Access TV, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's Jim Ross's voice. And next thing I know, it's like 5 in the morning, and I just watched, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours of New Japan. So I'm real excited for it. I'm real happy for him. I mean, we all know that Jim Ross has had his unfortunate list of horrible events happen in his life.
Yeah.
And, I know Cody, and I know Cody for sure, has the respect for Jim to take care of him properly. So the man's earned it. So I'm happy to see where he's at.
So this is not just great news, when it comes to getting to hear Jim Ross call AEW.
Splendid.
This is big news, especially this week. They gave him a contract to do commentary, which means he can still do it.
Yes.
He is a big name coming out of WWE, and off of the report by John Oliver, this shows you how they treat people. Jim Ross can still go, and they could probably get better ratings if he did go, if he commentated Raw or SmackDown or even NXT. But they don't use him. They don't use him for that, and they have driven him away from the company because of the way they treat him. And he's going to go do it elsewhere at a company that has already shown that they are going to do it right.
Yep.
They are going to hire employees, and they are going to give them health care and equal pay and a list of things that WWE is not doing. So I'm pretty sure that they went into the idea of starting AEW thinking that they are going to right all of these wrongs that WWE has been doing wrong. They are going to, like I said, hire employees and give them all the benefits of being an employee as opposed to an independent contractor. So I think that's much bigger news than it is just, happy news. Because Jim Ross is a big name, and it makes it a big case for how they treated him, just because he was old. So, what about you, Jerry? What do you think about it?
I love the news, but it's also one of these things where I'm still kind of holding out for the possibility of maybe even CM Punk being brought in as color commentator.
Oh, CM Punk and Jim Ross, that'd be awesome.
CM Punk and Jim Ross would be the ultimate commentary team.
That'd be some shit.
Because you'd have naturally the experience and snarkiness of CM Punk, but then you have that down home, very familiar voice and very knowledgeable voice and just iconic voice of Jim Ross.
And you could start the show with JR coming out to the Oklahoma Sooners march.
Yeah.
And there's nothing WWE could do about it.
No.
And you could have CM Punk come out to Cult of Personality, and there's nothing WWE could do about it.
Nope.
Because they license those from other properties.
Just like he did when he came out for his UFC fight. He came out to the Cult Personality.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not the one you want to remember. Oh, those UFC fights
it was in Cleveland. So.
But this way, yeah, even then, if CM Punk did try to do his whole MMA thing, he could still do that. If you wanted to go back in the ring, he's in AEW, which will no doubt treat him better. He would actually be able to do some more stuff.
CM Punk versus Cody? Oh, dang.
Oh, bring in AJ Lee. Who knows?
No, CM Punk versus the Cleaner.
Kenny Omega versus Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not big on seeing Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've seen that match in WWE.
Oh, we have, because him versus back with Legacy. It was back when
Don't care. But Omega versus Punk. Oh yeah, I'm there.
Yep.
So from there, we've got till 5. The 5 best clotheslines that we can think of in, we're going to say, wrestling history. Well, I guess we can make this a main event. Do you want to do that?
Sure. So the I've got 5 or we've got 5.
Yep.
We've got 5 sounds better.
We've got 5.
This is the only thing we're going to format on this show, I think.
Yes.
because I like the idea of having a top 5 or a bottom 5 or a 5 something for every show. We're going to come up with a cumulative and agree upon the top 5. We don't need a number 1 through 5, just top 5 overall.
I'm going to still write them down that way for prosperity.
That way, if any one of us can't come up with 5 of our own, it's okay. We're just trying to add enough in here to get the top 5.
Yeah.
So, you got to have the clothesline from hell.
Yeah, that's a must.
JBL all day.
JBL's.
That's number 1.
I was about to say, even if we we're going with number 1 clothesline, JBL's clothesline from hell is just right up there. A lot of people it's very hit and miss, but it's so iconic that I may have to throw it on here, and that's the Undertaker's flipping clothesline that he does.
Yeah.
It's one of those hit and miss type things. Sometimes it looks very impactful, but for most part,
other times it's like he's barely touched him.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, you always get that vibe, especially when he nails it, when he lands on his back and does that sit up right afterwards. It's one of those things that kind of sticks with you. So I would think the Undertaker flipping clothesline would be one of them.
What about CM Punk's slingshot or springboard clothesline?
Oh, that's a great one too.
That's a good one.
Just about any version of the discus clothesline. I mean, we just watched NXT UK. You've got your All Raw Best for the Bells.
Yes.
I was just about to say that. I was waiting for my.
But I mean, it is a discus clothesline.
Even new school and
even Natalia does it. So
what about Dean Ambrose's clothesline when he bounces off the ropes and he clotheslines?
The Jawbreaker.
ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, throw that in there.
Yes.
We're just throwing them in a pile, and then
that's what I'm working on.
we'll number them, or we'll find the top 5. Let's see, any good ones? Any other good ones?
Oh, I've got a couple. One that still sticks with me now, and it's a guy we've talked about a lot, and rightfully so. The Miz, his clothesline in the corner.
Into the corner? Oh,
yes.
yeah.
It started off such a weird looking maneuver, but he's worked with it so much that now every time he nails it now, it's so impactful. And then he'll do the whole hang thing with it on occasion and just drop his opponent right behind him. It's so badass looking and so cocky that it's got to be on the list.
I got to throw one in there that is not necessarily flashy or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it is so generally, basically, across the board used. I mean, just think about Battle Royals and Royal Rumbles and whatnot. The clothesline over the top rope.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, it has got to be one of the most used clotheslines. Gotta be.
I'm gonna go with Ted DiBiase's rebound clothesline.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a throwback and a half right there.
What about the when you throw your opponent, or the opponent goes to the ropes, but you go to the same ropes and come off just a little bit after them, so that when they turn around, you catch them with the clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also Bray Wyatt's turnaround clothesline.
Oh yeah.
When dude's running at him from behind and he just turns around and clotheslines them.
Yep.
Love that.
Let's see. Pretty much any clothesline to the corner is always badass too, especially if, like you said, like one of the ones where they just charge behind the opponent. The second you hear the turnbuckle kind of chatter, and then it's like they just ram into it, but the whole body just goes up and comes back down. Yeah. But that's an awesome list so far. That's, I think, 8 so far that we've got.
Well, the Doomsday.
The Doomsday device.
What about the heart? Is it the heart attack?
Heart attack.
The heart attack.
Well, we're going deep here.
Yeah.
We're going.
That's
tag
what she
teams.
said.
If we're going tag teams, you gotta go the high low too, because I think, was it you that talked about
Cade Murdoch?
Cade
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The high low has always been super effective.
Any clothesline that turns a guy inside out, but I don't
Well,
think there's a
Adams,
category for that. But definitely the high low is one of those.
I'm about to say, if you're going to go an
out.
inside out clothesline, the Rocks, because like anytime he nailed Rikishi with one, Rikishi went flying everywhere.
Oh, anytime Rikishi
got clothesline in general, he just flipped everywhere.
That was his spot to show that he could do a flip.
Actually, more like a pig on a stick. It was more like a luau.
Any other good ones? Are there any good luchador ones?
Mm.
Where you get some crazy shit before a clothesline? It seems like if they're going to go through the trouble to do a bunch of crazy shit, they don't end it with a clothesline.
No, they don't. It's usually like a back spring elbow or some shit or like a spinning forearm.
If you're talking about individuals that just perform a clothesline like Jesus Christ, Brock Lesnar.
Oh, Lesnar's clothesline's vicious.
In fact, that is one of the clotheslines you want to pick if you're doing Create a Wrestler.
Yes.
On a video game, you want to pick if you're going for a clothesline. Brock Lesnar's will bust somebody open usually.
Okay, one of you guys will notice who used to do like the multiple clotheslines in the corner and then just come off with like a big one at the end. Cause he'd just like keep on throwing them like that, and then he would just like look at his arm and then throw him in. So I remember there was somebody that did that. I just can't remember who it was.
I remember that. I still remember the person who did it. I know what you're talking about.
What about when they grab a hold of the one arm, pull him up into a clothesline, pull him up again into a clothesline?
Yeah.
Like a ripcord clothesline.
Ripcord clothesline. I'm going to write it down, even though we don't really know who did it.
What are you saving a spot for?
I had something, I was writing down a Doomsday device, but there's other stuff going on that I was trying to keep up. Because now we're at 13.
Wow.
Yeah, you fail to realize how many different variations of clotheslines there are.
Well, once we got into tag team clotheslines, the doors flew wide open.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I think we've exhausted them, though.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, so we've got 13 different clotheslines to choose from. We have to pick the top 5 out of them. We have JBL's clothesline from Hell, The Undertaker's flipping clothesline. We'll go ahead, all raw vest for the bells. We'll go ahead and just say that this gets one. Jawbreaker lariat, Miz's clothesline. I just wrote clothesline for that one. I'm not sure which one it was, but the rebound clothesline from Ted DiBiase. Do we want to throw the Ultimate Warriors clotheslines in? Or
I think the regular clothesline was Dean Ambrose's clothesline off the bottom rope. Or the middle rope.
Okay, so I'm going to put Dean Ambrose clothesline. But it's a lot like the Jawbreaker lariat, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, the Peter Pan one that Tyler Bate does.
I don't think that's going to make the top 5.
It won't make the top 5, but it's an honorable mention. It's a participation ribbon.
What else do we have?
Oh, Bray Wyatt, and then we have the Heart Attack, the Doomsday Device, the High-Low from Cade Murdoch, Lesnar, and Ripcord Clothesline.
Okay, so JBL has got to the clothesline from Hell has got to be number 1.
JBL Clothesline from Hell.
We made the rules
all
but
day, every day.
Definitely, that's not only top 5. That's number 1.
Yes,
When you think of clothesline as a finisher, it's automatically JBL in the clothesline from Hell.
Yes. Like even when he was Justin Hawk Bradshaw, it was just using it like initially. It was still very vicious looking. That's why I'm like, this guy's gonna be big. And then he disappeared from WWE television. Then he came back, and then sure enough, him and Brute got teamed up for the Ministry of Darkness. And after that, he was an acolyte. And then after that, APA. And after that, he just kept on using that clothesline. It was beautiful.
I feel like the discus clothesline should be up there just because it is a finishing move.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, some of these are really good. Like the Undertaker one.
Yeah. That's more iconic than effective, though. Maybe we should go more with effectiveness than anything else.
I think to everybody, top 5 is what it is.
Yeah.
So either or. What else do you guys think topped that list?
The Legion's Doomsday Device.
Yeah.
Doomsday Device. So yeah, definitely up there.
I was about to say that move just turned anybody inside out. Pretty much just one of those Doomsday
It looks
Device.
so dangerous.
I don't think I saw anyone ever kick out an effective one. Like anytime it landed, that was the end of the match.
I would say as far as
Yeah.
tag team lariats go, that is the top. So definitely in the top 5.
Okay. So can we also say the Mrs. Clothesline at this point?
I want to because it's so innovative, but at the same time, does it ever really just strike you when you look at it as a clothesline?
No.
No. It just looks more like a setup move than anything else. Like,
Well, no, I mean, even if it's not a finish or anything like that, it just doesn't, when you look at it aesthetically, it doesn't look like a clothesline.
No.
But
Yeah,
as far as creativeness goes, I want to put it up there, especially because of the fact that it's the Miz,
Yeah.
and he essentially, I don't know of anybody
awesome.
that did it before he did it.
No, I've never seen it. I had never seen it done before, and that's what kind of threw me off about it. Granted, when he first started doing it, I didn't like it because he was all bouncy at the end, like, yay! But now it's like, he nails that clothesline, and he just sits there, almost like deadpan, then just lets the dude drop from behind, and it's pretty awesome. So,
What about you, Colin?
Oh man, I'm still loving that DiBiase one, man. It's an old school.
oh yeah,
It kind of, there's been a lot of variations of that since. So
I would actually probably go with the rebound clothesline from Ted DiBiase as well. Because,
I would agree with that one.
yeah, so we're gonna go ahead. Maybe that would be like if we were doing a top five list. That'd probably be like number 5 on that.
Like,
one.
I'm gonna have to Google that because that is the only clothesline I can't picture.
Yeah,
How does he do it that's different?
I mean, it's pretty much kind of like discus. I
yeah,
remember correctly.
yeah. Pretty much is almost like a spinning type clothesline, but he like rebounds off the ropes with it and just nails it with such force.
So it's a discus clothesline off the ropes.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
definitely put it up there.
Yeah.
Because I would put discus up there too.
Yeah.
But
So-
in this case, you're combining, so no need to put discus because this is the best of the discus.
The best of the
best of the discus.
The best of the best.
Okay, so that pretty much puts us at 3 so far because I went ahead and circled JBL's clothesline, rebound from Ted DiBiase, and a Doomsday Device. So I don't know if we still want to include the Undertaker's one since it's so iconic, or if we want to go with something else. So
If I'm going to fill out the rest of it, I'm putting Undertaker and Miz.
okay, that actually sounds like a good finish.
What would you put in there as the last two, Chris?
Undertaker, and I put Dean Ambrose on there.
Okay. Colin?
Undertaker, and who else was on the list right
Definitely
now?
Undertaker.
All right, so definitely Undertaker.
So we've got...
We've got Joe Coffey, but that's a discus one, and we've already got a
Yeah,
discus one, so I'm
discus.
marking him through. We have the Jawbreaker Lariat, which is just sick
Dean
looking.
Ambrose.
And, well, not even Dean Ambrose, Nigel McGuinness. Nigel McGuinness, Nigel McGuinness's Jawbreaker clothesline is like one of the most vicious things I think I've ever seen in my life. Because, like, he'll bounce off that bottom rope, or he'll just completely turn on the second rope and just fling back and just, the arm just goes flailing. Sometimes it'll hit the dude in the chest, sometimes it'll hit him in the neck, whatever. It would just knock him out cold. So, but we also have Cade Murdoch's high-low, we have Lesnar's, we have the Ripcord clothesline.
Lilo.
We have
I love
Bray
the
Wyatt.
high-low, dude.
Okay, so then what about you?
I'm all about the high-low because I told you, we talked about that last time, and it actually was a finisher, and very few people kicked out of it. So, but it was only, like, it was really kind of a hard setup is what it was. Like, granted, the Doomsday Device was a hard setup as well because you had the electric chair that you had to get him up in. And it was easily reversible in that sense that somebody could push Hawk off the top rope and Animal could get rolled up for the pin. So, but like, if I had to choose between Doomsday Device and Caden Murdoch, weirdly enough, I'd probably choose Caden Murdoch because
It did look devastating.
because they just have to come off the ropes and there's that surprise element to it versus I'm being lifted up in the air.
And this guy's climbing the rope.
What the fuck is going on?
So I would say the votes have it for Caden Murdoch.
Yep.
The high-low.
Yep.
They're not the only ones that do it, by the way. They
Okay.
just do it really devastatingly.
All right. So we're in our final segment now. That was the main event, naturally. But the final segment rests in between Stefan and I.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too.
Yep. He has to drink the orange vanilla Coke that he bought weeks ago.
So they've waited like 45 minutes for this.
Yes.
Or more, possibly. I might be doing the math wrong. So, for those of you that don't know, maybe you only watch the Rated R Rapport and not the NXTea Party. This is...
How would you know about us?
This is a can of orange vanilla Coca-Cola. I love creamsicle. Anything orange vanilla.
You love anything orange.
I've got a giant bag here. I'll just show these people.
Yeah, seriously.
These people. I apologize for that. I will show our fans. I've got a giant bag of the fruit flavored Tootsie Rolls because they've got vanilla and I've got actually a shit ton of orange, which is great. And I like to combine them because it tastes great. Pro tip. Start chewing the vanilla one first because you're going to want that vanilla flavor around your mouth before you put the orange in because the orange will completely... Like if you do the orange first, you probably won't even taste the vanilla once you pop it in.
We're sitting here watching NXT for the past 2 or 3 weeks and all you hear about is the orange dress that's in the ring.
So another thing you need to know about me is that I am caffeine free. I drink Coke occasionally, but it's caffeine free Coke. To me it tastes just the same anyway. So I am willingly giving myself a headache tomorrow because once this caffeine goes away, my body's going to be like, hey, I want some more of that. How can I get you to give me more of that? Here, how about a fucking head-splitting headache?
First off, Colin, I know you've tried this and you found it quite disgusting.
I mean, I just wasn't happy. I mean, it wasn't like horrible, but it was just like
disappointing.
Why? Why did you have to make this? Because I love creamsicles, and now it's just like.
All right, so here we go, folks.
All right. Oh, that's a gratifying sound right there.
Oh, what I hate is that spot of Coke that gets on you. I can taste it a little bit, but not enough. All right. Yeah. Note to the viewers: this isn't out of the fridge. This is off the counter, so it's a little chilled, but mostly lukewarm.
Yeah.
But that's how I do my soda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love room temperature soda.
I can see both sides of the argument on that. Because when you're drinking it and you're tasting the orange and the cream with the Coke, it's not so bad. If you've ever had a Coke float, you know that vanilla goes well with Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, so does orange. Yes.
Yeah.
The aftertaste, however, is extremely odd.
Yes, it's an odd aftertaste.
It's not necessarily unpleasant, but it's extremely odd. All right, hold on.
You heard it first. Aftermatch aftertaste.
It's so good going down. I honestly think they could have put more orange in it.
There's always more orange with you.
It's so good. It's so good going down, but then it's gone, and you're like, "The hell did I just drink?"
That's
I'm
what she
okay with
said.
it though. I'm gonna get a headache anyway. I'm gonna finish the can.
Yep.
But not on camera. We are essentially done with this show.
Absolutely.
Do we want to do a full outro? We got time.
Yeah, we have time for a full outro. Let's do an outro.
So, where can we find you, Chris?
You can follow me on Facebook at Chris Forever Mace, Sport Aftermatch Wrestling, SportODQ.com, Sport the Simple Man. Like I said, you could also join the group chat at capital ARMBAR exclamation point. And that's about it.
I'm gonna be like, hey Jerry, who should we have on the show next week? Chris hasn't been on in a while. We should have Chris. No, he steals my armbar bit. All right, Jerry.
It's all I have.
I'm not making threats. I'm just telling you how it's gonna go, man.
Short of making fun of Noah and his pre-show antics, armbar is all I have. Don't take that away from me.
Alright, again, got it. I'm good on videos when you're not on them. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That works. Spread the word about armbar. Just not on video. I'm spreading the word on armbar.
So we'll have to train you on it. It's not capital. It's all caps. ARM. You got to do the cadence. ARM BAR
exclamation point.
And I'm not saying it's needed, but it helps to have a guy like me that's willing to sing the last part.
Hey, go. Hey, do the fingers.
Do the fingers.
Finger motions. Finger motions are very important. Sorry, energy drink.
And it actually does help to have a guy like Colin that's willing to draw a big, fancy, pretty exclamation point and hold it up.
Can we get a smiley face on the next
That
one?
is how you know it's legit. When people know ahead of time.
or just make it even bigger. Just get a poster board. Just the cover
Just
covers
the
up.
same one, dude. So I don't have to get high off a permanent marker and draw it again. You know what I mean?
Or make it like the Shazam. Like,
No.
lightning bolt.
I have a solution, and it's going to be expensive up front, but you'll go through a lot less paper. Just get an exclamation point tattooed on the palm of your hand, and when it's time, just hold it up to the camera.
That's dedication right there.
Go ahead and put the NXT logo, the aftermatch logo, if we ever get one. Anybody out there knows how to draw real well and do it on a computer as opposed to just on a piece of paper.
Okay.
Draw us a logo.
Colin,
Where can we
plug
find
away,
you,
my
Colin?
friend.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Colin26Andrew, and then you can find me on YouTube at Colin Andrew.
I'm telling you, Colin, you need to have your own show. Seriously.
4 or 5 videos up there. I just credited a review last night with Chris, James, and Owen. Not a review, but our predictions for Mania 35, which I haven't posted on the channel yet. I don't know if I will. But,
It's like an hour 45, isn't it?
Hour 45 minutes.
Yeah, hour and 45 minutes. Yeah.
We knocked ours out in less than 45.
We done good.
Our NXT Takeover predictions video is up on there. Keep supporting Aftermatch Wrestling. I won't do the stint because that's Stefan's deal, and this is their video. I did it last night when you guys aren't around. I gotta keep promoting it. So
we appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Always.
Yeah, I don't know. The videos are always fun. Next time, we'll see what kind of more topics we get into. It's WrestleMania week, so I wanted to bring that WrestleMania storyline deal to
It was a great idea.
And if you'd like to get up here on the big screen and help us review a future episode of NXT UK, do a rated R report with us, do a fantasy booking with us.
Talk cheese.
Apparently that we can do on a Saturday when I'm off.
In the morning with us.
Yeah, like we do these videos like crazy. Once you're in the NXT team chat room, like this shit happens all the time. Like they just put shit together. Like it's out of my control now. But we're willing to put you in the group and put you on the big screen. All you have to do is find me on Twitter. Just go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to look me up on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. You can also find this gentleman on Twitter.
At NoDQ General. And also on my Facebook group Armbar, all caps, ARMBAR, exclamation point. That was
Nice.
pretty.
It was great.
Join up, we have a whole bunch of wrestling discussions, memes, and now we also do a bunch of live stuff.
Fuck bomb. The more you drink this, the better it gets. Especially if you don't let that aftertaste linger for too long before you take another drink. I'm gonna be burping a lot. So yeah, I am caffeinated for the first time in years, and all I got to say is, come to Armbar.
Armbar.
Share some memes with us. Also, if you like this video, click the like button. That's below me. Go ahead, we'll wait. Not too long. If you like all of our videos, you should probably click the subscribe button. That's underneath Jerry. Yeah, that side, over there. Right. In between is a share button. We will give you time to do this. Listen to me bullshit for a little bit. What you can do is share it to Facebook or share it to Twitter. It's really easy. just click it, and then a list of things that you can share it to will pop up.
Any minute now.
Click on Facebook. You don't even have to title it. Just post it. No title needed. Just do it real quick.
Probably an ad at this point.
And then if you click it again, you can tweet it. Or if you click it again, you can share it on your YouTube page. All kinds of ways you can share it.
Get the word out.
Have you shared it yet? And since you are here on Aftermatch Wrestling, go ahead and click that bell icon down there. And I know a lot of people say to do that, but for us, the purpose is you actually getting to know when these videos go up, because they go up at like early times in the morning. So if you don't have the bell on and your phone doesn't notify you, you're probably not going to just like scroll through it. So if you really like to watch these videos, just click the bell and your phone will tell you when we post it, and so you won't miss us. So
You'll get an email.
other than that, next time we will see you, we will be reviewing NXT TakeOver New York, hopefully with Jeff Meacham on the big screen. But for now, for the Holiday Chris Mace, for the Cleaver Colin Andrew, for the General Jerry Slaughter, I am the Wizard of No DQ Stefan Osborne. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Have a good night.
Good morning, everybody.